Good morning, thank you. We are live streaming on YouTube and the website.
Thanks.
So Director Demare, you're chairing today, right?
Yes. Just let me know
I think
when we're ready to go. Ready to go?
I think we're ready whenever you are. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we would like to recognize that collectively we are on the unceded territories of all the First Nations within our regional boundaries. We have approval of the agenda. Motion made by Jackie, seconded by Karen. Any opposed? Approval of agenda is approved. So we're a little early for the delegation at 9:15 unless they're ready to go.
Thank you, Chair. We do have Ms. Petznick as well as Ms. Jones who are ready in the waiting room, in the virtual waiting room, if you'd like them admitted. And just for the information of the committee, we do have two people joining us from the boardroom today, Ms. Philippa Campbell and Ms. Leanna Steppen, as well as the people who are visible in the virtual room. So I can admit those delegates now. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, please.
Also, Chair, we have Patricia Westerholm joining us from the boardroom as well.
Good morning, Ms. Beztek and Ms. Jones. You're going to do a presentation today on the Lillooet Agricultural Food Society. Okay, we'll hand it over to you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I think I know most of you on the call here. For those of you who don't know me, first of all, can everyone hear me fine? Sounds all working? Okay. So I am the current executive director of the Lillooet Agriculture and Food Society, and I have been with LAFS for just over 4 years now, which is hard to believe. And I'm currently transitioning out this month and handing the role over to Emily Jones, who is also on the call here. If you want to say hi, Emily.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Thanks. So I'm going to do a brief overview of our annual report and then give a few pieces of kind of what we're focusing on for this coming year. So this month, Emily and I are working together to kind of make sure that Emily understands everything and learns all the funders, which is quite something, all the acronyms that we have. I wanted to touch on a couple key projects. I'm going to assume that everyone read the annual report for this year as it was in the agenda package. So one of our bigger projects in the last year was the Investment Readiness Program. We received funding from that program, which is part of the Vancouver Foundation, to work on looking at how LAFs can be ready to take on investment. And so that was a project that looked mainly at our agricultural storage facility, which we have received Canadian Economic and Recovery Infrastructure Program funding for. And so that was really helpful to kind of look at how that would actually look and what the plans were for that. We worked on that with Green Chain Consulting, as well as an architect from Motif Architects. And that project is still going on this year. So we'll be moving into the building phase this spring is the plan. We had a great Canada Summer Jobs student last year, Ren Kerslake. She's a wonderful student. She worked for me the year before as well. She helped with our gleaning program and worked with the hub, and also helped facilitate the farmers market and help our vendors there, and also helped run the coupon program. So Ren was a great leader, and it was really nice to have her around for the summer. It was a tough summer, as everyone knows. One of the other things that's a little more internal, maybe not as externally facing, but we got a new bookkeeper, and we have moved online with QuickBooks for all our bookkeeping. And it's been a process to get everything transitioned over, but it is wonderful now that we've done that, and our bookkeeper is fantastic. So I'm really pleased with that change that we've made, and with how everything is looking for going forward with our bookkeeping. So we don't have in the agenda package our operational plan for this coming year. That's Emily is now working on that. Yeah, my kind of last piece there was putting together our annual report, as I didn't feel I could throw Emily into that when she was so new to the role. So she's working on putting together what we'll be doing for this coming year. And our biggest project is the storage facility. And we're hoping to secure additional funding to have processing included, because right now the plans are mainly for storage. And as a business, we're kind of looking at, like, as the agricultural storage facility being a business, we're looking at how we could add processing onto that would add value for our producers and make it potentially a more sustainable business for the community. We're also applying to create a cookbook, a Lillooet grown cookbook. So continuing with our marketing of the Lillooet grown logo and Lillooet as a great agricultural region. And I'm personally really excited for this project, and we're partnering with the hub again on this. We'll be running workshops out of there, and including local art and focusing on farmers and different things for the cookbook. So yeah, it's a fun creative project for LAFs. We're also, of course, still managing the farmers market, and we received funding for a toilet. Last year we were renting from Bridge River, so we'll have our own, which is nice. It'll cut down the cost for the market, and also a fridge and freezer to have at the hub. So another partnership there. We'll be able to have a shop and deliver program and have more integration with other local nonprofits. And we also have office space at the hub. So I'm hoping that this will increase LAF's kind of availability in the community and the ability of community members and farmers to kind of drop in. I've been working from home, and of course most people have with COVID for the last couple of years, but I think having office space downtown, especially right next to the post office where everyone walks, will really increase our ability to have people kind of stop in and say hi and ask us what's going on. We've also received gaming grant funding again for this year. So that will be for food security workshops, again, run from the hub. And we're still running the coupon program, which is one of my favorite programs that we run through the BC Association of Farmers Markets. And so hoping to build on that again this year and grow it for our community. Okay, I think that's most of the programs and the plans. Does anyone have any questions?
Barb?
Thanks, Sarah. I'm wondering, when you say food processing, what exactly is that going to entail? Like, are you looking at canning, or I know they have the sauerkraut thing going there in town and whatnot. So I'm just kind of curious if you could expand a little bit on that, please.
Yeah, what I'm thinking about, I've been asked by several producers in town for access to a juicer. So kind of an industrial scale juicer that we could rent for low cost, like a barrier to entry for people to kind of expand their products or maybe produce products that they wouldn't have otherwise. So that's one item. Another thing would be washing facilities. So an ability to wash things like squash so that they can be stored for longer, because of course it'll be paired with the storage facility. And so vegetables, especially like squash, if they are washed, will keep for much longer. So those are the two main ones that I've sort of thought of. And then we will be asking producers before we put together that grant application, anything else that they would be looking for that would be useful. I'm also thinking, kind of just a big space that people can rent with stainless steel tables and have it, certified so that people can then sell those things to stores. Like the building itself would hold all the permits that it needed and the food safe certifications and that sort of thing to be able. Yeah, so that's as far as I've gotten thinking through that so far.
Okay, thank you. I was just wondering about dehydrating, or at one point there were some kind of classes or something at the recreation center. I don't know if that was through LAFS or not. To learn how to do canning and things like that, or different products.
Yeah, we will probably run those through the hub, and we're hoping to have some kitchen space in there. But I don't think that canning might be a little bigger, a little more involved than we're kind of looking at for the storage facility. But I think we would run sort of smaller scale workshops on that sort of thing through the hub.
Councillor Hoppel?
Hi, thank you. So I just have a question about the cookbook. Are you looking for recipes with regards to people growing their own vegetables at home and putting them into like a salsa, or what would the criteria be if you are looking for recipes?
We will be looking for recipes. They will all be community-based recipes. And I haven't thought of specific criteria yet, but using products grown in Lillooet, or using like lots of items that you would find in Lillooet, and then both traditional Indigenous foods as well as including settler or non-native foods, and all the different things that are kind of historically relevant to Lillooet.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other? Oh, Ms. Playflair?
Hey, Sarah, good to see you. Very exciting. And I love the apples on the annual report. I don't know who those incredibly attractive people are, but yeah, it's awesome. Just with the storage facility, did you have a kind of a date that might be completed?
I'm really hoping that we will begin the location that we're looking at. I think you probably are aware is the JAR Enterprises, what was JAR Enterprises. So we're looking at retrofitting that building, and I would really like to see it available for this fall. Like I'm really hoping to kind of get that ball rolling and get equipment. I think once we've got our lease agreement signed and that's kind of happening, it'll be a fairly quick process to get all the equipment in there. I mean, relatively speaking, within a few months. And so I'm hoping that it'll be up and running by this fall. That's the goal.
Excellent. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Well, I'm really impressed, and I know how much work it must have taken to not only like research and get all the grants that you've gotten for the building, but it's going to be great for the Lillooet area. Great work.
Thank you. Yeah, I must say that's thanks to the SLRD. Without our core funding from PILT, it would be difficult to achieve writing all those other grants and making that happen. So it's been great to have that.
So we got Ms. Rasmussen.
Thanks, Director Demare. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. Thanks so much, you guys, for the report. I'm really pleased. It looks amazing what you're doing and what you're going forward with. And I know that we've already had a chat about stuff to do with Invasive Species Society and the collaborations. So kudos, because this is something that is top of my mind right now, especially with all the emergencies across the whole region and food security. So this is really, really important. Once with our roads crumbling in around us, we need to be thinking about food security, and it's huge, top of mind, and supporting our farmers is the basis and the foundation of creating food sustainability. I just also wanted to one note that was passed on by Director Birch Jones was just in your partnerships that Split Rock Environmental has Kim North as the contact. So just wanted to make note that Kim is no longer the contact for there. Probably Jessica Hopkins is your main one there. So, but other than that, yeah, looks amazing. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Besnick and Ms. Jones, for attending our meeting and giving a great presentation and very positive news. Ms. Helmer, is the next presenter ready to present?
Yes, Chair, we have Kim North available. I'll admit her now. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. North.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. You were going to give us a presentation on the community coordinator, the hub, and the Lillooet Volunteer Connect.
Yes. So on the hub project for sure. So am I ready to go?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, my name is Kim North, and I am currently managing the Lillooet Community Connect Innovation Hub on behalf of the Lillooet Learning Community Society. In 2021, the SLRD supported the Lillooet Learns in their effort to break down silos across sectors to enhance lifelong learning opportunities while also increasing community economic development using a local approach, focusing on what's unique to Lillooet. So we really thank you for that. Through the Northern Development Initiative Trust Economic Development Capacity Building Grant, whew, that's a long name, we were able to pilot a Just Do It lean approach by testing the feasibility and community support for the social enterprise hub concept. And I hope that you've all had a chance to read our 2021 final report that was submitted in late December. So just a quick background, the Lillooet Community Connect Innovation Hub has been a long time in the making. Numerous past SLRD economic development reports and stakeholder meetings held to support sustainable community growth all pointed to the fact that there was a desire and a need to build a cooperative structure around community economic development and to also create a forum for sharing information, working together, collaborating, and building capacity. So the hub was a concept that came out of all of that research, as well as the at the table events that were held here over 3 years. So during 2021, because of the support that you provided, the hub project demonstrated successfully that providing the resources, time and space to connect and convene together across sectors leads to actual new innovative ideas and projects that support community economic development. Some of the highlights of 2021 was that we created a shared space with Statlium, business, government and nonprofits, where we came together through community conversations, dialogue sessions, community connect art projects and drop-ins. The hub location right beside the post office is ideal, as many people drop in every day to share their thoughts and ideas, and they assist with some of the work that's happening out of the centre. A hands-on mentorship program that supports lifelong learning has already seen its first 3 participants successfully go through the program. The hub ambassadors were partnered with artists, farmers, small business operators and nonprofits so they could explore community, understand economic development and build their entrepreneurial skills. And currently we already have one of the hub ambassadors being employed by the private owner that's operating out of the hub. So that's great news. And the 2 others are going back to school and one of them into the art field, which is really cool. An art gallery that showcased and sold work from local artists and makers across cultures was also born out of this initiative. In just 3 months, $14,000 of art and craft items were sold out of the gallery, supporting local artists who were then encouraged to also shop locally, keeping the money in the community. We also trialed the food marketplace, supporting local farmers by selling produce from the Main Street storefront. And moving into next year, we're hoping to build upon that success. We also have developed a local walking and e-bike tour, and looking at creating a tour booking site at the hub. And the other great thing is that we have been able to co-share that space with private and nonprofit societies, all working towards the same kind of goal. So in just 2021, in just 8 months, despite all the things that happened over that time, COVID, the fire, evacuations, road closures, and the 2015 residential school impacts, and also the renovations at the hub, we were still able to bring in $138,700. 60% of that was through grants, but 40% was through enterprising sales, fee for service, and partner contributions. So I think just for that 8 months, that really shows that we're kind of heading in the right direction. In 2022, we've already secured $133,000. And just from the sales from the hub in 6 weeks in January and February, we've already brought in $9,200, which I was kind of surprised about. And we've also secured all of the partners that are now working out of the hub, which includes Lillooet Agricultural Food Society, the Chamber of Commerce, Arts Lillooet, Restorative Justice, Kimberly Gee Lawyer Business, Lillooet Learns, and Stone Fruit Parlor, which is also a private business. So with all of us sharing rent together, it makes it easier for us to have a space on Main Street. And it also creates that space where we can collaborate and work together on projects. So today I'm here to just ask for your continued support as we grow the hub business model and to support other business and social enterprises within the community. So our current goals are to take what we learned in 2021 and build on the momentum achieved. With the hub location secured and full occupancy granted, partners in place, and the hub advisory guiding our work, we are in a strong position to meet our mandate to bringing people together and building a collaborative approach to community economic development. So the current goals that we would like to undertake in 2022 is to now bring all of our partners together, now that we've trialed this, and create a strong strategic plan and out of that strategic plan, develop a business plan that we can then confidently move forward with this project. And so the reason why that we need to do this strategic planning and the business plan is so that we can really set our priorities straight. We can identify our achievable goals and milestones over the next 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years, and allow us to focus our energy and resources to where they are needed most, and to ensure that we're successful. So I did send a document here, which I'm sure you've had a chance to look at. So it basically showcases that we have basically 5 tasks. So one of them is strategic planning, and we would like to hire a contractor to help us with that, to set those priorities and focus energy resources, strengthen operations, and ensure that Hub partners, board, employees, and volunteers are all working towards a common goal. And then out of that plan, we would like to develop finish a complete business plan. We did do a business plan model in 2021, so a lot of that information is already there, but now we need to bring it into a really concise and informative document that can then be given to different investors that we could possibly engage in partnering with the Hub. And then the other big task that we would like to do is to work with the Chamber of Commerce on the LEAP program, which is the Lillooet Entrepreneurs Accelerator program. And it has a few different components to it. So one is to support some existing businesses that may be going through a transition, and to see where they need support. And then assist nonprofit organizations in exploring social enterprise and/or cooperative models for increasing their impact, while offering a service product that enhances their financial stability and contributes to the local community economic development. And then we would like to support local entrepreneurs in starting a new business with a focus on Indigenous and young people's participation in the economy to start with, through hands-on mentorship programs, which we're basically already doing, and just increasing that and building a more strong process with our partners on that project. And then we are looking at ways to explore new ways to engage with businesses outside the region, to think about coming to Lillooet and the area to start up their own businesses. So we have quite a few partners that we will be working with on this project. The Lillooet District Chamber of Commerce, who now has space, has office space here at the Hub. The Lillooet Economic Development Advisory, the Slrd, NEDI Group, Tourism Lillooet, Love Lillooet, Lillooet Tribal Council, Thompson Rivers University, and Community Future Sun Country. So some examples of project already being initiated in 2022 support economic development and build entrepreneurial skills include the walking downtown tour and e-bike tour route, a community food box and good food program, a juice and tea bar, and a waste diversion creative upscale art projects. So they're just some of the ideas. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity for presenting our idea, and we hope that you would be able to support it for 2022. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm here to help.
Thank you, Ms. North. That's excellent, excellent work. Are there any questions? Mr. Rasmussen?
Thanks, Kim. It's amazing. I'm super impressed. And I just had one, I heard that we are part of that partnership group, but I also just wanted to bring forward Director Birch Jones, who could not be present today. She was just noticing on the strategic planning and the advisory piece that she thought that Slrd was part of that advisory group. So just wanted to confirm that the Slrd, that she would sit on that, and possibly with sharing that with Jeanette Nadon. And just wondering about,
Yes.
Okay.
That would be,
Okay, excellent. She
And
she
thank
was
you for all of your and thank you for all of your support for the hub. There's been a lot of great community support. Like a lot of people have really liked the concept and have even put money towards that, towards the renovations of the hub site. So once we get these renovations totally done, upstairs is finished now, and we have all of our partners. We have the Chamber of Commerce renting a room. We have Lillooet Restorative Justice and Lillooet Learns and Kimberly Gee sharing one of the rooms there. And then we have Laughs, Arts Lillooet, Lillooet Volunteer Connect, and Elris sharing the big collaboration space as well. And then there's a meeting area, and that's all completed now, thank goodness. And so now all we have to do is basically complete the kitchen area downstairs. But we're also partnering with the Miyazaki House and renting their kitchen during heavy times like gleaning and when farmers have extra produce and things like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And the other thing I just wanted to comment on was the fact that I'm hearing this chamber partner program with the LEAP that also not only includes just the idea with like community futures, how they're really supporting businesses that, you know, that the hub could also be part of that and collaborating, but that looking at collaborative models going forward is something that I personally am a huge supporter of this, knowing that we have so many not-for-profits in Lillooet. And I think that Jeanette Nadon was also too an early adopter of that concept, giving me ideas as a person in not-for-profit. So I'm 100% behind the idea of, you know, being involved in piloting something that could move forward to show other not-for-profits that they didn't have to be alone, that we could collaborate and maybe combine some of our not-for-profits moving forward. So it's just hard sometimes when you're in a silo. And I think that Lillooet Learns has already shown through the 100 people who care that we can have this collaborative model and support our community and bring more people in because of all the services and the great things that not-for-profits provide. So yay, Kim, great job. And I'm just super happy where you're pushing forward and your energy level. So thanks.
Thank you. Well, right now I'm sitting in Tawasin Library. They're very nice here. I was just down in Victoria visiting family.
I've got a question if no one else has any more questions. Could you expand on the First Nations relationships with the hub?
Yes. So basically, we started right from the beginning saying that our hub ambassadors needed to be Indigenous to start with. And just to say, Lillooet Learns has Indigenous representation on their board, and the mandate is to have 50% participation. So already just at the board level, there's that participation. The hub ambassadors, the 3 hub ambassadors that we hired this year were all Indigenous with our partnership with Indigenous Skills Education and Training Program. And they are funding it again this year for a longer period, and also giving us extra money for the mentorship program where we can hire an artist, a farmer, and a small business operator to act as mentors to those young people. And then as we've hosted community conversations around truth and reconciliation, and every activity that we do, we basically reach out to the communities. And once COVID is over, like it has been a bit difficult through COVID to actually, host meetings and collaboration sessions like within their communities, within the Statliam communities. But I'm hoping into 2022 that we'll be able to reach out and actually go and visit those communities as well and see where they are at. I've already talked to the Hoyston, like we're working with Hoyston. We have representation on the advisory from the Lillooet Friendship Centre and Hoyston currently. And currently we're also working with Tehikit with their community garden and trying to help them with providing some hub ambassadors during their key times. and then also looking at partnering on their drying machines. So every time we move forward, I want to make sure that there's opportunities there for us to be partnering and working on the ground with the Statland community. Right now, we're not really. Oh, we're also received a contract with the ministry to work with HACLEP around signage, and so we've hired one of our hub ambassadors to be the liaison and to gather all that information from the elders for the signs. And we have a local HACLEP artist that's working on the signage, and then we have an artist who's taking all that work and digitalizing it for the ministry. So every project we work on, we're reaching out and working kind of more at the ground level, the groundswell level. All of our art members, we have over 52 art members, and I would say 50% would be Indigenous artists. And we will be we hosted an Indigenous only art show right when we first started, and we will be doing that again every year. So yeah, I think we're doing a good job. We're not government level, so we're not working at the government level per se, but we can collaborate and support that if anybody needs that, we can reach out.
Well, that's excellent. Keep up the good work. That's I'm really happy to hear the work that you're doing with our First Nations peoples.
Yeah, it's kind of like reconciliation on the ground or in action.
Yeah. Any more questions for Ms. North? Thank you, Ms. North. That was an excellent presentation, and just keep up the good work.
Okay, thank you, and your support has been invaluable, so I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Next on the agenda, the consent agenda. Would somebody like to move the consent agenda? Moved by Ms. Weed, seconded by Ms. Playfair. Any opposed? Motion carried. Are there any businesses arising from the minutes? No. Okay. Go staff reports and other business. CAO verbal update.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Just one item, and that's around the timing and location of the next meeting. And just to inform the committee that staff have been working hard to move the meetings back to Lillooet, but with the current technology, the intent is for them to still be able to be offered in this hybrid technology, and we won't be ready to go on that for the May meeting. It looks like July will be the time frame that we're able to get the technology, find a location, and make sure the technology is in place. So the recommendation for the May meeting would be to conduct it in the same fashion as today.
Thank you, CEO Dalton, and we'd like to welcome you to the SLRD.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
Okay, next item is roundtables. So let's start. Oh, yes, Ms. Helmer.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to see if the committee could pass a resolution with respect to the location and the start time, please.
Someone like to make a resolution, or I can make it, that the location and the time for the May 19 NEDI meeting be similar to the meeting that we just held. Seconded by Barb. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we can go to the roundtable. Ms. Weeb, we'll start with you.
Well, did you pick the wrong person to start with, Mr. Demare? I thought our delegations would go longer, and I was going to be leaving the meeting early, so I had advised Councillor Hopful that she would be doing the round table. So I'm going to flip the switch over to Lori.
Okay, Ms. Hoppel.
Okay. So just a few quick points. So zoning bylaw projects. So we've decided at council, it was kind of brought to our attention that there was a lot of variances coming to the district. And a lot of those variances were for the same things with new developments, new business. People are coming for variances so that they didn't have to put in oil water separators, pave parking lots and industrial areas of town. So we're gonna be looking at our zoning bylaws, and we're just gonna be changing a few things to make it easier for businesses, new developments to get up and running. The costs are so extreme right now, so we're trying to streamline that on our end of red tape. So that's coming. Resolutions, we're taking 3 resolutions to SILGA, one for harsher penalties for repeat offenders. Don't need to explain that one, I don't think. Number 2, better forest management and wildlife prevention. Again, just basically what it says. And 3, emergency management program reform. So we're looking at those 3 resolutions for SILGA. Hopefully they'll be passed at SILGA at the end of April, and we can take them on to UBCM. We were also looking at the farmers market. So the farmers market has to be moved from the current location on Main Street. And the new proposed locations are one in Downton Park, which is by the museum, and the other one in the rec center parking area. So I think basically staff wanted to bring it to council to approve those 2 places, and then they're going to work with the farmers market and laughs and decide which place would be better for them to work in. So I have to wait and see what's going to happen there, but I think the decision will be made fairly quickly, as I think that development will start pretty soon in the current location that it is. We did apply for a grant to light up Downton Park, which again is by the museum. So we're just waiting to hear the final outcome of that, which should be any day. And what we're going to do is, put up poles and put up lights and fancy it up and clean that area up, because as you come around the corner, it should be that gateway to the downtown core. I think that if we can spruce it up and sparkle it up and just make it know that you're in the heart of Lillooet there, then that will be a really nice addition to our downtown core for sure. And other than that, that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Playfair?
Not too much to report from an Area A perspective. I'm sure Sal will be able to report on anything going on there. The one thing I would comment on, with my Bridge River Valley Trails hat on, is that we're in the process of, we have a request for an expression of interest out for a trails coordinator in the area, which is kind of exciting because the committee has had working with just volunteer staff, it's been difficult to move some things ahead. So we're in the process of doing that. From a tourism Lillooet perspective, not too much to report. We will continue again with our Range Beyond Range campaign, where we're working with Bridge River Valley, Lillooet, and Tourism Pemberton on marketing a circle route. And then I can't remember if where we are in the program, but the Visitor Information Center for Lillooet this year will be housed in the Miyazaki House, which is exciting, and Tourism Lillooet will work closely with them, as will the hub, presumably. So I think that's pretty much all I have to report from my end.
Thank you. Mr. Rasmussen?
Thanks, Director Demare. Did you want to give your update with, to add on to Area A, and then I could do Area B after that?
Sure, I can do that. Yeah. Since it's regarding economic development, I just want to highlight three things funding that the Bridge River Valley Area A was able to get. The first one was the Minto Communications for almost $2 million on upgrading their internet service. And for a small society, it is just amazing the work that they've done. In fact, tomorrow, this afternoon or tomorrow, I will finally get our upgrade to the high-speed internet that they're going to be able to provide. It's been a lot of work, and there's still more work that they have to do, but it's definitely moving forward. And that was on our strategic priorities to this committee. The Raylorn recreation area, a lot of work went into that. It was almost 8 years to get it a Section 56 on probably about half of the mountain on Sunshine Mountain as a recreation area. And the BRVCA holds that Section 56, and a subcommittee of the Raylorn committee is doing the management of it. And last year, they hired a coordinator and has really started moving things forward. And they were successful through an NDIT grant and other funding partners, which included the SLRD, for $150,000. And they're going to be expressions of interest are out now to build 4 new trails on the in the rec area. And the next one is the Raylorn Pioneer Mines office that is owned by the BRVCA, or Bridge River Valley Community Association. They've got over $700,000 funding now to make all the changes that are required to be able to host a museum inside of it. One of the major ones was actually a sprinkler system that will be needed. So that work, we're just waiting, or they're just waiting for a building permit from the SLRD, which should come by the end of the month, hopefully, and then they can start work on it. It's going to be a 2-year project, and to do all the upgrades and finally move the museum into that building. So lots of great news. I'm sure everybody's aware of the fatality on Road 40, and we had a meeting with our MLA, Mahdi representatives, BC Hydro representatives, and Shalath representatives. And there's a few outcomes there, and we'll see what transpires through that meeting that we had with them. It was very unfortunate, and as Mr. Rasmussen, stated, our roads we've had issues everywhere you look. Highway 12, Highway 99, Road 40, the Highland Road, they've all been closed here and there. And yeah, we need some action, and hopefully from that meeting we'll see what comes out of it. And that's all. Thank you, Mr. Rasmussen.
Thanks, Director Demare. I just want to start off by acknowledging, and I was pleased to see the SLRD notice in the paper regarding the passing of previous director Mickey Macri, and how he encouraged me and was a mentor to me moving into this role, and I was an alternate for him as well. So I also just want to put a shout out to him and his passion for many of the things that, and the reasons why we're sitting here today with this committee, as well as the things that he supported across in his tenure, which was long. He had many terms for the SLRD. So I just wanted to thank the SLRD staff for putting that together and acknowledging the board for putting that together. So that's, I just wanted to start off with that. As far as updates and what's happening around, I just wanted to let you know, with my hat on as the chair of the Agriculture Advisory Committee for Area B, we finished off our review of the bylaw, and we put that forward with the staff's help to the board, and we're really we felt very confident. It was unanimous across our recommendations moving to the board to support farmers. It's just saying my internet's unstable, so just let me know if I cut out. So I'm really feeling confident that we've given recommendations for this bylaw that not only supports farmers, and it may look a little different than what was recommended, even recommended by the ALC, but it definitely works for this area. So more to come on that, but I believe that that's an important piece of the big picture with anything like food sustainability and our economic development, is definitely being able to support our farmers in the way that they need to have flexibility to grow what they need and to have staff and buildings, etc. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that people were aware of was, other than, the hub, and I believe LAFS may have made reference to this, is that the upsurge in the Lillooet District Chamber of Commerce, and that they're back on track. They have an amazing new ED that I've already connected with, Johannes, and he is moving forward with great speed and passion and energy that is really bringing businesses together and not-for-profits like the one that I represent with Elris. So they have a Shop Local campaign, and it's going, it's really great. Lots of businesses that are using it. And I believe that a strong relationship between even this committee and the chamber is really important. So I believe that's a big win going forward. And I also wanted to just mention, moving forward with the recovery and resiliency. I mean, moving back to what's Director Demare was talking about with our emergency operations, this may be more of a joint update from District of Lillooet and Area B, but I just want to give a shout out to I'm going to get his title wrong, but he is our fire chief, Darren Oiki, but for District of Lillooet, but he's also he's in a coordinator position. You guys probably know. Anyways, he continues to move forward with training that not only trains people within the district, but includes all of our Indigenous communities and partnerships, and it includes Area B. So that's something that myself and representatives from this out in my neighborhood with Texas Creek, and the goal is to train and have people trained to work in an emergency operations center in geographically strategic spots, because we're split by these rivers and by these roads, that we need people on all sides to not only be present when there's emergencies, but then be able to take over when those people need breaks, or when, for instance, the fire or flood or road emergency moves locations. So that's really tied to economic resiliency in my mind, that also gets tied to climate action and climate changes and resiliency. And we're just really need that in order for people to understand what's happening, whether that's tourists coming in or new people coming into our region, to understand we have these things in place. And Darren works very closely with Sarah Morgan at the Slrd, and it's a really amazing collaborative model. So I just want to say that, most people aren't going to say, hey, why should I move to Lillooet? And that maybe wouldn't be the first thing you think of, but it really should be, because it means that people, like the example of Goldbridge and Raylorn, when they were cut off, and how the emergency management team made sure that they had what they needed. And the only other thing I just wanted to circle back on is that I had a question for Lori about the wildlife prevention SILGA, because at this time, LAFS is also working to host a wildlife. It's more of a bigger picture, but it's supporting farmers and food security, and wildlife conflict is on the ag plan as a topic that needs to be addressed and has been in the past. So I just thought that I would ask a question about that wildlife prevention piece.
Okay, I think that I meant to say like better forest management and wildfire prevention. Okay, so
Okay.
but you know what? I mean, when it comes to that too, those wildfires are part and parcel of the wildlife that is within those, you know, so that actually the wildlife is part of that resolution as well. But I'm sorry if I should have said, I meant wildfire.
Yeah, no problem. And you're right. As areas get impacted by wildfire, then there's going to be dynamics that change. And I think most of us can agree that there's been some dynamics changing even within the district of Lillooet and even out in Area B, with fencing and other things occurring. And wildlife is one of the challenges as we live in in the interface in the areas that are grasslands and transition to forested areas that we have to contend with, and we need to be able to work together to find low impact solutions. That means that we're working with the wildlife, hopefully, and not against it. So that's just something that we'll be working with. LAFS will be working towards that kind of a meeting in the future, probably early spring, or if they can't quite move, it'll be in the fall. Yeah. Any questions for me?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rasmussen. Next is 6.3. And Ms. Helmer, do we have a presenter, please?
Thank you, Chair. We have Ms. Westerholm, who's sitting in the boardroom, who will be talking to this, as well as Jeanette Nadon, who I'll admit now. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Patricia Westerholm, Communications and Engagement Manager with the SLRD. And I will just introduce Jeanette Nadon, who has put together the request for decision report that's in your agenda package regarding the 2022 Northern Development Initiatives Trust Economic Development Capacity Building Grant application, and the proposed funding application for that, or allocations for that. So Jeanette, if you wanted to go ahead and speak to that report, and then we're both available for questions if you have any. Thanks.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Patricia, and good morning, NEDIC, and special good morning to Craig Dalton. This is the first time we're actually meeting each other, so it's very nice to see you in person. So again, my name is Jeanette Nadon. I'm the Communications and Engagement Consultant with the SLRD, working on projects on a part-time basis. And this report, as Patricia said, is to present the proposed funding allocations for the SLRD's 2022 NDIT Economic Development Capacity Building Grant. At the SLRD board meeting on February 23rd, the board did direct staff to apply for the grant. We've been applying for the grant since 2012. So we have that resolution to proceed, but what we need now is just an endorsed word. So just briefly, I wanted to speak to the Northern Development Initiative Trust. This Economic Development Capacity Building Grant was designed to support local governments to be able to hire economic development officers and or to participate in implementation of economic development activities. And so the SLRD has been using our grant since we've started applying for it for economic development activities as opposed to the economic development officer position. I have discussed briefly with both the Area A and Area B directors that they would like to continue moving forward with how we've been doing things in the past, which is sharing the grant evenly, assuming that we are successful with the application, sharing the grant evenly between electoral areas A and B. So each area would get $25,000 of the $50,000 grant if we're successful. In the case of Area A, we have been working with the Bridge River Valley Community Association since 2013, I believe, and allocating a portion or all of that 50% to them to take care of economic development activities on our behalf within Area A. And just to, it's maybe a good time to point this out, but a condition of the grant is that the SLRD is responsible for leading the economic development activities, meaning they have to be aligned with our economic development plans. And in the case of Area A and Area B, the two proposals that we're submitting today, they are aligned with our economic development plan. So in electoral Area A, what they've been doing for the past few years is using the funding to hire an economic development consultant to undertake the work for them. We did receive a request letter from Brevka in December, which is attached to this report, requesting that we allocate the funding to them again this year. And then a couple weeks ago, we received the draft work plan that they would like to work on for this year. And it's very similar to the work plans that have been put forward in the past. So the focus is very much on strengthening collaboration and partnerships with Statlium communities, as well as local businesses, contractors, artists, and nonprofits, supporting efforts to improve the road access to the Bridge River Valley, pursuing activation of an affordable housing project, which is being done in collaboration with Chalath Development Corporation, developing recommendations with respect to short-term rentals and housing availability, and then continuing to implement resident and business retention and attraction initiatives. And part of that this year is looking at ways to ensure the sustainability of the Goldbridge Community School. Having a functioning school in the community is really important to be able to attract and retain families in the area. And then finally, continuing to support the tourism marketing initiatives, including the Range Beyond Range campaign that was mentioned earlier, and the Sea to Sky Mountain Biking Consortium, and also continuing to explore opportunities with the Gold Rush Trail. So I've received the work plan, and I did say in the staff report that I was requesting some clarification on some of the deliverables. I have now done that. I had a conversation with Suzanne Denbach yesterday. We've reviewed the work plan, made a few tweaks to it. So I personally feel comfortable with it now. I do intend to contact Northern Development next week just to make sure that everything is in alignment with the eligibility requirements, but it does appear that it is. So that's Area A. And then with Area B, last year, as we know, we allocated the full $25,000 share to Lillooet Learning Community Society, which used the funding to pilot the Lillooet Community Connect Innovation Hub, which Kim North was on the call earlier and gave a presentation with sort of an update of what had happened in the past and what she's looking at doing this year. So I won't spend a lot of time on that, but basically the gist of the proposal is that the next steps that she would like to see would be undertaking a strategic planning process, which would include developing a strategic business plan, working with the partners to explore ways to develop this Lillooet Entrepreneur Accelerator program, and continuing with the mentorship program. So again, I have in the staff report, I mentioned that there was some things that I would like to have clarified, and I did have an opportunity to speak offline with Kim North yesterday, and we had a good discussion, and we'll be meeting again early next week to sort of just tweak the proposal so that it is, we need basically what we need to have the budgets costed before we apply. So I just had requested a little bit more detail from her on how the money was going to be spent, and recommending that we itemize it by project so that it's very clear and we can manage expectations that way on how things are going to be delivered. So that's basically the preferred option, is that NEDIC endorse the funding proposals that have been put forward and direct staff to continue working with the organizations to finalize the work plans and the proposals, and in an effort so that we can get our grant application submitted by the deadline, which is March 31st of this year. And so I think I don't think I had anything else to add. A couple of things actually, just with the Brevka proposal, one of the things that Suzanne and I had talked about yesterday, because the SLRD needs to be the project lead on these economic development activities. And just to clarify, I've confirmed with NDIT, we're still permitted to designate a third party to undertake the activities. So we can subcontract to BRVCA, and we can subcontract to Lillooet Learning Community Society, but we do have to provide project oversight. So there is some staff time that is going to be required to do that. And one of the things that Suzanne and I had talked about yesterday was the possibility of her and I just scheduling a regular check-in call to make sure that we're fully informed about what's going on. She suggested that I could potentially be attending the Economic Development Committee meetings as well, which I'm open to, but that would be something to just discuss at the staff level in terms of allocation of resources. But at any rate, I will, I'll leave it at that for now, and I'm available for questions. Thanks very much.
Okay, I'm going to be declaring a conflict of interest, specifically regarding the BRVCA, as my wife is on the board of directors and my daughter is a paid staff member. So I'd like to hand over the reins to Barb, Ms. Weed, for the rest of this agenda item.
Thanks for the notice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I'll put you in the waiting room and as you turn the chair over to Director Reeb.
Thank you.
Okay, questions. Director Rasmussen.
I don't have any questions. I have full support of, or at least I give full support to both of these and Jeanette's recommendations. I trust her attention to detail and moving forward with both of these applications. Absolutely. So unless there's any other questions, I'm happy to forward that motion or put the motion on the table.
Do we have any more questions from anybody? No? Okay. Jackie, are you making that motion to?
Correct. I'm making the motion to, yes, to support the both applications, or at least the application to the Northern Economic Development, and for the economic development for areas A and B. Hopefully the
have a
staff
seconder,
can make
please.
it better.
Second by Director Hopful. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Can we bring Sal back in, Melanie, or Christian, whoever has?
Yeah, I'll admit him back in, and you're going to turn the chair back over to him as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Sal. It's all yours.
you, Ms. Weed. So
Chair, we finished item 6.3. We're at item 7.
director reports, are there any director reports? Hearing none. We don't have any late business. Is there any late business? No. Are there directors, any directors notice of motion? Hearing none. Could I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Ms. Weed. Seconded by Ms. Playfair. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, CEO Dalton. That was your first look at Lillooet and Area B, and